Fans know the actor Jeremy Piven from his multiple Emmy-winning turn as a Serbic super agent Ari Gold in Entourage, or in PBS's Mr. Selfridge, or the recently cancelled CBS procedural Wisdom of the Crowd. But lately, he's been labeled something else, a sexual predator. At least 7 women have come forward over the last year saying that he either sexually assaulted or harassed them. And now, he says, he wants to clear his name. The accusations, what they said, never happened, says Piven in an exclusive interview with the star, the first he has given on the subject. Have I ever disrespected a woman or gone against her wishes? The answer is no. The truth of the matter is, I was lucky enough to grow up around strong and powerful women. My mom was not just an incredible figure in my life, she was my director. The last couple of years women have come up and told their stories of abuse and harassment. And I'm happy they've done that. But in my particular case, the accusations never happened. Piven is on the phone talking from his home in West Hollywood, and there is angst in his voice. In written statements through his lawyers, Piven, 52, has previously denied the allegations. But he has never discussed them in an interview. Article continued below. This dramatic turn in his life and career, which now includes stand-up comedy dates this weekend in Toronto, have also come because of Canadian connections. From his accuser, Hamilton-raised Ariane Bellemare, whose tweets encouraged other women to come forward, and to another Canadian, comic Russell Peters, who convinced him to take his work in a radically different direction. When these allegations came out, I decided, why don't I take a lie detector test, and it turns out I was telling the truth. It never happened, says Piven. I'd really like to put this to rest and get on with my personal and creative life. Last November, Piven's representatives said he passed results of a polygraph test taken when 4 women accused the actor of misconduct. Since then, an additional 3 women came forward to allege sexual harassment. The star requested the results and was given a copy of a polygraph report from the Los Angeles Institute of Polygraph that said Piven passed questions including whether he had ever taken sexual advantage of women. However, the polygraphist's name is redacted on the document provided, and polygraph results are considered unreliable. The first accuser, reality star Bellemare, said she was on the Entourage set when Piven groped her breasts and buttocks. She alleged this happened a second time when they met at the Playboy Mansion. In a tweet directed at Piven last October, she wrote, "Remember when you cornered me in your trailer on the..." Without asking, Anastasia Tanay, who also worked as an extra on Entourage, accused Piven of groping her breast and genitals. Another woman, advertising executive Tiffany Bacon-Scorby, alleged that he jumped on top of me and forced me to the ground, then exposed his genitals and masturbated against her until he ejaculated. Other women have also accused Piven of forcing himself on them in a sexually aggressive manner. The star attempted to contact several of the women who alleged that Piven sexually assaulted or harassed them but did not get a response by press time. "This is a way for an audience to see who I am," says actor Jeremy Piven of his pivot to stand-up comedy. He is performing 3 nights at Yuck Yucks in Toronto this week, courtesy of Jeremy Piven. All claims were denied by Piven's lawyers, who described the allegations as works of fiction. He has not been charged with a crime. Continuing to tear each other down and destroy careers based on mere allegations is not productive on any level, Piven tweeted in November. Article continued below. Reaction was swift after the allegations surfaced. Piven was reportedly dropped as a guest on The Late Show after Bellemare first tweeted, and his CBS show Wisdom of the Crowd was not renewed, although the broadcaster did not provide a reason. Piven, though, does not seem to think it is because of the allegations. "I'm very proud of that show. I think it just didn't fit in with CBS's plans, but that happens," says Piven. "When you think about it, when you make a pilot and get to air 13 episodes, that was an accomplishment." Television critic Tony Wong talks about his exclusive interview with Jeremy Piven and the recent Piven's career has also taken something of a radical turn. "When you think of stand-up comedy, you don't think of Ari from Entourage. But Canadians get to see for themselves when he arrives in Toronto Thursday for a 3-night stint at Yuck Yuck's Downtown Comedy Club, with tickets starting at $45. All roads lead to stand-up. "It's my main focus right now, it's my life," says Piven. "Doing stand-up is the biggest charge possible. I am so grateful to be able to get up on stage and laugh with a bunch of people. We're all breathing the same air, we are all finding common ground." Piven says he was lucky enough to grow up on stage, working with Second City doing improv in Chicago, and working on The Larry Sanders Show, starring influential late comic Gary Shandling. "So, unbeknownst to me, I've really been a student of the game. It's the toughest challenge. You can be in a dive bar and they probably don't know who you are. The audience is probably there to see the DJ. There are a couple comics with their arms folded in the back wondering what the heck you're doing. And it's your job to do the heavy lifting and make this group laugh." Canadian comic and Etobicoke resident Russell Peters has also been a key connection in Piven's pivot to stand-up. The actor says he really decided to tackle the job full-time with tours in the US, Canada and Britain when he met Peters last year in Los Angeles. The two co-hosted a charity event. "I was hosting with the best in the game. It was so intimidating to do that I had to embrace it," says Piven. "It worked incredibly well because he was so kind. That's how I got the bug. It was the ultimate crash course. But you and I wouldn't have had this conversation if it weren't for Russell Peters." Peters, star of CTV's Indian Detective, and one of the highest-grossing concert comedians in the business, phoned up after my interview with Piven to vouch for his stand-up abilities. "I've never seen anybody work that hard on the craft," Peters says. "My main advice was that I kept telling him that you got to determine what version of you that you want people to see you as. Are you Ari? Are you Jeremy? Who are you?" At this stage in his career, Peters says, Piven has great potential but doesn't want his work overshadowed by this dark cloud of sexual allegations. Even before those allegations, Piven had earned something of a reputation in Hollywood. The New York Post once declared him the biggest jerk in showbiz. In our 42-minute interview, he gave thoughtful, detailed answers, and is not the person I expected him to be from reading social media. "I think sometimes people mix up his character on TV, that Ari Gold guy, with who he really is," says Peters. The Toronto gig is something of a test by comedy godfather Mark Breslin, the owner of the Yuck Yucks chain. "I was curious to see where he was taking stand-up, and I think people will want to know what this really clever guy is doing on stage," says Breslin, who flew down to Los Angeles to catch Piven's act. Despite the allegations, Breslin says he had no issue with booking the actor. "We're not playing judge or jury. The individual customer makes that decision," says Breslin. "But I think people will do their research and make their own conclusions." Breslin says Piven may have a potential theater act in the making, in the vein of a John Leguizamo, who has performed stand-up as well as having a hit show on Broadway, telling stories about his life. "I think he might be curious to see what I have, but I'm honored to be playing in Toronto. I've been lucky to film there over the years, but it's a great comedy town. It's an honor, a gift to be there," says Piven. "Maybe not such a gift. The Yuck Yucks that will host Piven was shut down briefly last week by Toronto health inspectors because of a rodent infestation. It needed a good cleaning. And we shut for a day. We had one of those companies that came in with those hazmat suits and the place is spanking clean now, assures Breslin. Selfishly, this is a way for an audience to see who I am, says Piven. I get to talk about my life. I get to go up on a stage and laugh. It's fun, it's terrifying, but I think they can feel your truth. Tony Wong is the Star's television critic based in Toronto. Follow him on Twitter, @TonyDwong.